Smack talking where the legends live and the rookies get schooled in law. This ain't just talk. This is smack talking raw. You ready, Pinky? Judge always Ron. Let's lay the smack down. Boom.
Welcome to another episode of Smack Talking Raw. I'm your boy Pinky. Ron Stradamus is not in the house tonight. He is currently recovering kidney surgery, as he's mentioned multiple times. We wish him the best of luck. He will be back soon. Trust me, he is sad that he is missing the show tonight, but we will get him back soon. In the meantime, I have some of my best fellas coming out on the mic for us to fill in for Ron. I've got some of my boys from Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. I've got Caleb and our boy Robert.
Woo!
Thank you boys so much for filling in. I appreciate it. I could do this show myself if I really wanted to, but it's a lot better to have some friends. Thank you for joining.
Cheers, man.
My guy brought out the mini-me belt.
Hey, this mini-me belt fits this mini-man perfectly well. I got a size 0 waist. It fits perfectly. So I'm going to use it till I get an official one. But it gets
Troyer wants his
done.
merchandise back, mother.
I will wear this and rock this. This was actually purchased from my first WWE live event, so it has history. And my nieces and nephews have already gotten to wear it, so it will be existing throughout the history of watching WWE going forward. Period.
That was a great Raw event to go to. We had a blast, and
that was an excellent time.
When he grabbed that, I was like, "That's kind of funny," because you know what? It fits around his waist.
I can wear it and get away with it, ladies and gentlemen. It gets the job done.
It's great. All right. So, thank you guys so much for tag teaming in. I'm glad to tag you guys in with us tonight. We've got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot to get through. But I did want to start, since it's the first time you guys have been on Smack Talking Raw, I wanted to ask you guys a couple quick questions. So I'm going to go Caleb and then Robert. And this one some of these might be tough for Robert because he's new to the game. He's new to the game.
I'm a greenhorn. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm working on my WWE knowledge, so please forgive me as we go through this.
I think I know a couple of these answers from Caleb, but I got to ask. What is the best entrance in WWE?
Stone Cold. It's Stone Cold. It's
Stone Cold. Easy.
The glass breaking, for me, there's nothing better.
Best finisher.
Best what?
Finisher.
Ooh,
And how many times does it take to get the finisher?
I mean, I do love a good stunner, just because you never knew where it was going to come from, and it was always a possibility. Look, Logan Paul's new one is pretty crazy. The pulverizer is sick.
It's pretty good.
I'm a big Seth Rollins guy. So you give me a Falcon Arrow and a Stomp, I'm happy as well. So there's a lot of lame ones, but like you and Ron could probably do a full show on just, the best and worst finishes. Like there's some quality.
There's a lot
options
of good stuff
out there.
And I think that's a great topic for a show one day. Favorite match of all time?
Oh man. I'd probably have to say either Undertaker and Shawn Michaels or Undertaker and Mankind.
Oh yeah, Undertaker Mankind's on my list. The one where he throws him through the cage. And
The
throws him
first
off the
that was
cage.
like the first true like 30-foot steel cage where it wasn't just the ring, it was like the whole area that the ring encompasses, and they were up on top getting. That one was crazy. Probably one of those two, if I had to just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a few others if I really sat down and digested it that would come to mind, but those two off the top are right there.
Favorite wrestler?
Uh,
Come on, I think I know who it is.
Look, I love the Rattlesnake. Really, truly love the Rattlesnake. But I don't know if I have a favorite because I was very much not a fan of Dom Mysterio when he first was there doing the thing with his dad and then the weird like angsty rebellion thing they were trying to do. But I love Dom as a heel. So I will ebb and flow a little bit depending on how the character builds and what their storyline is for the time being. Shawn Michaels is always up there as well. Sweet chin music and being original
that's
DX.
who I thought you'd pick.
Him and Stone Cold are going to be at the top. Him with the DX and then the Good Boy and Sweet Chin music. I've always been a big Shawn Michaels. As a smaller dude always, that also kind of related there. But I have been told sometimes I speak when I shouldn't or say things that are better left unsaid. And Stone Cold always caught my attention because he was going to tell you how he felt.
What?
Yeah. So because he said so was a big thing. And that always stuck with me as well. So I hard for me to pick between the two.
Robert, best entrance of what you know.
So the best entrance for the one that I know is, I would have to say, probably Seth freaking Rollins. I love his entrance. The music always gets everybody hyped. I really enjoy that. I really can't say what other ones that I would come to mind. Maybe Cody Rhodes. But really, I do love Seth freaking Rollins. I think his intro is great.
Pause real quick. Sorry to interrupt, Pinky. Is it funny now that because of that whole Europe tour, I feel like Cody Rhodes' entrance now is not whatever his theme song was. It's Cody Rhodes. Like, that's all I can hear now with him. I can't get it out of my head.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Favorite, best finisher currently for you, Robert?
So because of this weekend, and really I guess this last week, I should say, from getting more exposed to Stephanie Vaquer, her devil's kiss on the ladder with Mommy was pretty badass. I won't lie.
Now,
so the devil's kiss is probably one of my favorites.
I have to call you out on that. That is not a finisher.
Oh, it's not a finisher. Okay, so then
that is not a finisher. That's kind of like a lead up.
Okay. So rescinding that statement, then just because
so we're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it back.
I'll bring it back. I didn't know. I'm still learning these things, so forgive me, everyone. But because of the sheer athleticism and talent, and just this dude keeps getting better and better, the Pulverizer is actually becoming a favorite. I hate being a Logan Paul lover because
so good.
I hate him as a person. I wish he would get hit by a bus. There's some strong feelings there, but I watch his matches every time, especially when I'm with Pinky, and we just look at each other when he does some moves, and he's like, God damn it, like, this guy can really knows some shit. And it's great, and this weekend proved it. I mean, he had some of the best parts of it, and I'll save that. I don't want to steal Pinky's thunder by any means, but he's a great person to watch, and his moves are pretty awesome.
So I know we still need to do like a hangout where we watch a lot of the older matches to build up your education of WWE.
Yes. I'm looking
forward to this. What has been your favorite match that you have watched currently?
So for the sheer fact that this is probably where I got my most, so thus far, educational night of WWE was the what is it, the Blood Rules match or whatever it was with when Cody Rhodes won the belt from Roman Reigns. Just because of all of the, I think it was Roman Reigns, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Just because there was so much hype, you could feel the energy in the room, and you could feel the emotion when everything was going on and what's going where. Having John Cena before he turned heel coming in to help Cody Rhodes and things like that. I really did enjoy that match because it was something that I actually felt that I mostly understood. So I would say as of right now, that's probably my favorite, just because I actually understood what was happening and just the sheer gravity of it, I think.
Your favorite wrestler as it stands today?
Oh, my favorite wrestler. I'm gonna hate saying this because I want to slap myself as soon as I do. It's got to be Logan Paul. I really hate it. I really hate it. I hate it so much. But I coming from just being an athlete growing up and things like that, and just respecting the sheer amount of willpower and effort it takes to do this. And to see what he does in the ring is I'm left speechless every time. I hate him, but I love the athleticism and the things he does. I mean, his moonsaults are phenomenal. And I mean, he's wrestled with some of the greatest people in the business. And he is still, in a sense, just getting started and is still doing things better and better and better with each event that he's at. So I hate saying that as I'm wearing a Cody Rhodes shirt. I really am a fan of Logan Paul wrestling.
All right, and I have not done this on this show yet. My favorite entrance is Triple H. His presentation, his spitting the water out, the game, his dominance. This is the game. This is the game. I love that. Stone Cold's up there, Undertaker's up there when the bell hits, But for me, Triple H always had me. Best finisher for me, it's always Razor's Edge. Always Razor's Edge. When you pick a dude up like that, and then you literally drop him from the heavens, that has always gotten me. There's been a couple different people that have done it, but Razor Ramon, love that move. Razor's Edge always had me.
NWO for life.
Yeah, that's right, baby. The bad guy. Favorite match of all time, TLC 2. I think WrestleMania 17, if I'm not mistaken. They had done it at WrestleMania 16. They were even able to duplicate and make it even better in TLC 2. We had the Dudley Boys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian, and they put on a match for history that is forever ingrained in my mind, and I love that match. And I love all three of those tag teams. I rooted for all three of those. I whenever they fought each other, I was just like, I don't care who wins, I'm going to be happy. And they normally put on an amazing match. And then my favorite wrestler, man, it's hard. So back in the day, Little Pinky, it was Hulk Hogan. Eat your vitamins, muscles, all of that, Hulk Hogan. Now I can understand he's kind of a douchebag. So it's hard. It's hard to have that. It's hard to have that same reverence for him. So I think overall, it's kind of John Cena and Triple H, and it's because it's the good guy and the bad guy, and I love both of those aspects. And I think they both love wrestling. They changed the game, and I'm so happy for both of them. I think they've both done well in their, Triple H done with wrestling because of his heart issue. John Cena is about to be done here in 19 more dates. I think he's had a fantastic career. So that's mine. All right, Robert, I'm going to hand over the reins to you to lead the show.
All right. So, Pinky, a lot happened this week. So, I mean, it was a wrestling weekend for you, so there was a lot of different things. There were several days that you got to enjoy all of this. So I guess we'll start with let's talk about SmackDown. What happened on Friday?
So Friday Night SmackDown, and I watch SmackDown Saturday mornings. I get my coffee, I have it recorded, I sit down and I just watch and have a blast. This Saturday, it was literally I supported TKO all day because I had SmackDown on in the morning. I cleaned house. Then I had Worlds Collide. Then I had Money in the Bank. Then I went to the bar and watched UFC. So TKO got all my money, which is fine. I own some TKO stock, so it was all right. SmackDown, actually, there was nothing like otherworldly or amazing about SmackDown. But what made this SmackDown in Bakersfield so awesome, and our buddy Cody lives nearby. He could have gone to SmackDown. He talked about it, and he's kicking himself that he didn't go. All the stars from Raw were on SmackDown. That doesn't happen very often. This was one of the shows that it did happen. And you had Seth Rollins, and you had Penta, and you had Bronson Reed, you had Braun Breaker, you had the whole faction. You had all the women from SmackDown on Raw on the show. It was awesome. For some reason, we had a Money in the Bank match on Saturday. The same 6 women were in a 16 tag match on Friday night. I don't really know why they put that on, but whenever you get Roxanne Perez, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Alexis Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Naomi in the ring, great things are going to happen. It was a really fun match. Really good, fun, entertaining. Caleb, did you catch SmackDown at all? I can't remember if you said you caught it or not.
How did it end?
How did that one end?
Yeah.
The team of Roxanne, Stephanie, and Rhea won.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I didn't think I watched it, but it's been a whirlwind the last couple of weeks, so hard to say.
It was fun to see Rollins invade SmackDown, right? Because he's mainly on Raw. So that was fun.
I do love me some Architect.
So the 6-lady tag match was probably the most entertaining. And then we had the Wyatt 6 promo. That was very eerie. And it had that feeling of that came from the mind of Bray Wyatt when you watch that promo. If you haven't seen it, I recommend going back and watching it. It was very eerie and disturbing, and it really gave you that feeling.
Does Alexa get involved with them, or is she just going to do her own thing now?
I feel like she's going to do her own thing. I don't feel like she's going to join the Wyatt 6. I do think the plan right now is for them to get into what's been going on currently. If you haven't kept up on SmackDown, is for them to get involved into the tag team, which is stacked on SmackDown. The tag team division on SmackDown is absolutely insane, and they have started to involve themselves into that, which they don't need Alexis Bliss right now for that. Is it possible she joins in the future? Possibly. But this version right now, no, she will not join them. She'll be going on her own, world championship run here eventually.
All right. Well, before we get into the main events on Saturday and Worlds Collide and things like that, Pinky, kind of get me caught up here with the whole R-Truth situation.
Man, so R-Truth has a fun, nostalgic match with John Cena at Saturday Night Main Event. Nothing special. It's really for the fans. John Cena hits his best stuff. R-Truth hits his best stuff.
Which is John Cena's best stuff.
And just to be clear, this was not Money in the Bank main event. This was not this last Saturday.
No, this was
Saturdays
main
ago.
event. That was the PLE name.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event is what it was called.
All right, just wanted to make sure that was clear.
R-Truth comes out with an R-Truth t-shirt, Ron Cena t-shirt, comes out with the hat, the shorts, the whole thing, comes out to John Cena's music. He's doing John Cena's moves. He puts an attitude adjustment on him. I don't know if he got a 5-knuckle shuffle in, but he did at least get an attitude adjustment. It was fun. There's nothing amazing about it. It's just fun. John Cena ends up winning. The following week, the following Friday, R-Truth is in a match against JC Mateo. Good match. JC Mateo ends up winning because they're trying to raise him up, right? Raise his profile. The next thing you know, R-Truth gets fired. He gets released. It gets announced on Sunday on his day off that he got released from WWE. The fan backlash is out of this world. The locker room backlash is out of this world.
Which
all of the top stars commented about his release.
And if I'm not mistaken, Pinky, I did believe I saw on some of the socials with now this is not the official WWE socials, this is just some of the other pages that I follow, just trying to get as much knowledge as I can. Some of the stars, if I'm not mistaken, were directed to not wear any R-Truth t-shirts and merchandising, which I thought was pretty heavy. Kind of fill me in on your thoughts on that too, when you get a chance.
Yeah, so a couple of the stars were told that. I know Rhea Ripley wore an Ron Killings t-shirt into SmackDown, I believe, or into Money in the Bank, at least pre-show. A couple other stars did as well. There was a lot of support from the locker room. Reports from the locker room, everybody loves R-Truth. Caleb, I think you're a big fan of R-Truth from the time that you've known him. No, you don't like R-Truth?
It's not that I don't like him. I've thought his shtick has been old for 10 years.
I think he served
his whole gimmick was just, I didn't think it brought anything. I didn't ever really think it was that gimmicky and funny for the most part. Like, I always try to figure out why he wasn't trying to be more serious and do something legit instead of always be he wasn't even the B side. He was like the C role, like shit that got left on the floor. Not even a class clown. Like, they used him a lot as like just to get over if they didn't have anything else to do. I kind of felt bad for him. And I didn't think there was a purpose of having him around. So when he was let go, I wasn't bummed out, sad. I didn't feel that backlash a lot of people were going after, just because I didn't see the point of his character for a long time. I am interested to see what Ron Killings does, though, because the dude looks like, okay, I'm not going to be this joke anymore, and you're going to have to take me seriously now. That could be fun to see what they do with that.
We're getting ahead there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I've always liked R-Truth. It's just he's comedic relief. Sometimes we get a little too serious with wrestling. He keeps things fun. His wrestling is actually enjoyable once he's in I don't think I would agree. I don't think WWE has used him enough on SmackDown in the ring, because his wrestling is actually still good for a 53-year-old.
Well, that's the other thing.
I didn't realize he was 53. Damn.
Yeah, I actually kind of looked at him being released as kind of the turning of the page and finally being done with that old era, which I was okay with. So,
which I agree with that, at least to a point, Caleb, is that one thing that WWE has right now is a lot of older stars that they need to start bringing up the younger generation. Otherwise, they're going to have a lot of these older stars who get hurt, aren't there. And then you've got, because you haven't really lifted up your younger stars, people are going to be like, well, why am I watching this? Kevin Owens isn't here. And
they also don't put on a good show, if we're being honest, Pinky. Like, you watch a Logan Paul match, and then you go watch John Cena and CM Punk try to hobble around the ring, and it just doesn't look good anymore. It just doesn't, unless you perfectly script it out, and that's just not that possible all the time.
So you bring up some good points there. I think there are ways to make those matches look good. But one of the things we have is that at this point in where we're at in wrestling, the athletes and the athleticism that we see from a Logan Paul, from a Ricochet, from
Braun Breaker.
from Braun Breaker. When you see that, and then you have these other guys that are slower and don't move quite like that, it doesn't look quite right, right? And I agree with that point. That's why they've got to bring up this younger talent. Me and Ron have talked a lot about Nathan Frazier and Javon Evans. Those dudes are almost on that same Logan Paul level. The things they can do in the ring are freaking awesome. I would tell you guys to check both of those guys out. But
I'm just gonna need you to like make a notes and like share it with me, so that way I can just go through some of this. But like for real though, like coming up here, you know what? This is what I want for my birthday from you. Let's pick a day in July coming up, watching some WWE, you teaching me a lot and getting me some stuff. I would love that. So that way I can understand and be able to contribute more to this.
You broke Pinky. Did you see that? He like froze. He didn't know what to. He was so excited. He literally froze mid drink. Mid drink, you froze him.
Hey,
I was yes, let's go.
What can I say? I have that effect on people. I like to make things interesting, and one of the coming on this podcast with Pinky to help out is truly great, because anytime I listen to this show, and even talking with you guys offline, I do learn a lot from wrestling. I mean, I'm getting my niece and nephew into it. They're having a blast. I had them yeeting last week. Like, it's really fun. I'm having a great time with it.
That was the best thing I saw last week was them eating.
I really have always had that affinity to like know more, but in my circle of people that I'd been around my whole life, is wrestling was never a big thing. So to kind of get into it was not I don't want to say a possibility, but it never happened. So now getting this chance and getting to share a lot of that with a lot of things changing of the guard, if you will, with a lot of wrestlers leaving, coming in, and AEW and NXT coming on. Again, that's one of the few things that I'm excited for, and actually being able to talk about a lot of what's happened this last week. I actually have kept up and know a lot from this week, so I'm actually excited to be sharing a lot of this. So that's my request, Pinky, is for my birthday, you get me all things educated in WWE.
Let's make it happen, buddy. Let's make it happen. I am all in on that. Both show.
All right. So anyway, we digress, going back to the R-Truth situation. So before we get into the rest of it, Pinky, so we got R-Truth doing he's fired on his day off on Sunday. Walk me through the rest of the week into Raw, into SmackDown, and then into Money in the Bank.
I mean, R-Truth getting fired was trending on Twitter, is one of the top things trending Sunday all day. Monday on Raw that week, Friday on SmackDown, Worlds Collide, and Money in the Bank. All 4 shows. The crowd, you can hear it. We want truth. We want truth. Again, Pat McAfee, Joe Tessitore, Wade Barrett, all those guys, they can't respond to it. But it was like you could hear it. It was evident. I thought John Cena on Friday on SmackDown had the best reaction to it. He literally, the crowd is chanting, and he goes, "You can't handle the truth," and then starts talking about our truth is this as he's leading into the match.
Wasn't that on Raw?
No, that was on SmackDown with because it was Cody and Jay and Logan and John Cena in the ring talking before their match.
I guess I did see some of SmackDown.
So that's when he drops that you can't handle the truth, and then he starts talking about our truth. That was such a great like segue, and it had so much more meaning Saturday in this case. So really awesome.
Awesome. And then so now going into Saturday, which again I know I let you down, Pinky. I did not get to Worlds Collide, so I do apologize for that. It is on my list. I will probably actually watch it at some point tomorrow. That's my goal anyway. So walk me through Worlds Collide, what all this was about, why it was awesome. Tell me everything.
So Worlds Collide is actually an event from back in the I think it was early 90s, I believe, where you had some American wrestlers against luchadors. Worlds collide, styles collide. And it was a combination of that. So at WrestleMania, WWE announced, or TKO announced, they purchased AAA Luchador Wrestling. So then they made this event, Worlds Collide. Every match had WWE wrestlers with AAA wrestlers. Majority of the matches were three ways, tag teams. There was multiple folks in the match. First two matches were actually pretty enjoyable, but like at the end of the day, you're like, oh, there wasn't anything like crazy amazing. When you get to the women's tag team match, you had Lola Vice and Stephanie Vakir against two of the Luchador AAA wrestlers. Lola Vice and Stephanie Vakir, like, they broke the internet. They had they did the Devil's Kiss together. They ended the show kind of shaking their butts. The internet broke. There's actually a Topps trading card of both of them basically booty bumping each other. That's how popular that was.
That's awesome.
So, for those of us who love Stephanie Vakir, like I do, and then I was introduced to Lola Vice. It was a fun match. Nothing spectacular. 10 minutes or less, but it was a fun match. The best two matches were the Fatal 4-Way, which had Kid Laredo. It had Ethan Page, who's the NXT North American champion. It had Javon Evans, who's also in NXT. And then it had Ray Phoenix, Penta's brother, who's in WWE currently. That match was fantastic. I gotta relook at a couple other matches. I might put that in my top 5 of the year so far. It was awesome. All the characters they told a very great story. Everything about that match was great. Ethan Page is a great champion / heel. His phrase is all ego, and he plays that fantastic. He has this thing where he just smiles and points. It's such a dick thing to do. It's awesome. He plays that character great. I will tell you guys right now, if you haven't seen Javon Evans, check him out. That dude is the absolute truth for a guy who's like 6'3", 6'4". The things he can do is phenomenal. Okay. I see him a notch below Logan Paul right now when it comes to athleticism. He's that freaking good.
Taking mental notes. We'll definitely be sharing my thoughts on that, because again, I'm a greenhorn, everybody. So again, I'm sorry I am not able to share a lot of this knowledge. I'm working on it. But no, I have definitely taken notes. That's awesome. Again, the athleticism is my favorite part about this entire sport. Just because it's brutal. It's taxing, and it's great.
And Ray Phoenix said some great things. He's a high flyer as well. If you haven't really caught him, he does a lot of that.
Maybe here and there.
Javon Evans is the truth. The main event was Chad Gable versus El Hijo del Vikingo, who's a luchador who comes out in Viking gear. I try not to be a prisoner of the moment, but I honestly think this was the best match of the year so far. It was phenomenal. Chad Gable probably I don't know if I've ever thought of Chad Gable in that high of regard. I've got mad respect for him. That was an amazing match. And there we've had some good matches. I think I'm going to do that on the next show. The next show, Ron is back. Talk about the top 5 matches of this year so far. Now that we're halfway through the year, I would put that number 1. I really would. So I thought it had everything: the storytelling, the close pins, the moves. El Vikingo did some things that I'm like, wow, He did like a 480 off the ropes and hit Gable. Gable had a lot of great moves too. Fantastic. Just fantastic.
Awesome.
So I thought
That's
Worlds
great.
Collide delivered. It was on YouTube. It was the largest viewed live event of WWE on YouTube. I don't know
Okay.
if they've had many other live events, but this was a pretty good success for them. So
Awesome. Well, I know Worlds Collide happened. I believe it was the last event before we transitioned into the main event of Saturday, which was Money in the Bank. Which, I mean, Money in the Bank was, in my personal opinion, I thought it was great. But Pinky, give me your thoughts on Money in the Bank.
well, I'm curious. Caleb did watch it at my house. What are your thoughts of Money in the Bank, Caleb? So, okay.
Ladder matches aren't what they used to be. I will start there. The women's match was okay. I am so indifferent to Naomi and her whole thing that I could care less. Like, I think it's such a wasted opportunity with all the great women in the division to give her the briefcase. Like, her story should have ended with Jade Cargill destroying her, and that should have been the last we heard about Naomi for a long while. I don't know why, other than the fact that she's married to Big Jim, and that's why she's still in the business, because she's
Big Jim.
married into royalty within the business. Jimmy Uso.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's the only reason I can think of why she's still in the business. For me, I worthless of what they do with the women's Money in the Bank. The men's, like, we couldn't stop joking about why do they have 6-foot ladders in there when they need 12-foot, and why do they keep putting them up? Like, it was so ridiculous. It was entertaining. But what I mean by they're not what they used to be, like, dude, nobody really got like tossed out of the ring while still on a ladder. Nobody really jumped off a ladder onto anybody. Nobody really used a ladder as a weapon per se. People were getting thrown on them, and they were kind of climbing up them and hitting each other, but that was about it. So as far as like true Money in the Bank ladder matches go, I thought they were both well below average.
Man, I'd love to see somebody get tossed off the ring on a ladder. That sounds intense.
It is. That's why you look forward to these kinds of matches.
Well, last year, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was I think it was Chelsea Green was on the top of a ladder, got pushed off, and slammed through 2 tables.
Like, I must have missed that. I don't remember that, and I believe we watched it. We did Money in the Bank together. I don't remember that. I'll have to pull that back up.
It's pretty awesome. So we didn't have any of that. I actually agree with you on that, Caleb. I think the most innovative ladder thing is the rookies got Rhea Ripley in a ladder, smashed her in a ladder, and then got her outside the ring and stacked ladders on top of her. That was kind of the most like best thing about the ladders overall. I didn't
best thing about the ladders for sure, but the best thing about that match was the cake, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yes, Robert. I truly agree with you. There was a couple moments about the women's ladder match that I picked out. One, veterans versus rookies.
Yes.
You had Vakir, you had Julia, you had Roxanne Perez. Then you had Alexa Bliss, Naomi, and Rhea Ripley. And again, the veterans' job was to help let the rookies showcase themselves. And I think they did a good job of that. All the rookies got good things in showcasing their talents. To me, my favorite part was Rhea and Alexa Bliss having moments. That was kind of my favorite
But nothing ever came of the moments. That was the problem.
They did not.
That was the problem. And then the men's, I mean, again, I feel like wasted opportunity with who's now carrying the briefcase. I think you limit your storyline potential, and I think there were better avenues to go down.
So my point of view, and Ron and I talked about this, obviously, with the lead up to Saturday. We he picked Roxanne Perez to win the Money in the Bank. I picked Naomi. I felt like with Naomi winning, she's going to cash in on Tiffany Stratton. And then that's going to lead into a 3-way with her, Jade, and Bianca. And I do think Jade's going to win. I think they want to push Jade. They want to put the belt on her. But they want to continue that feud. And I think that's a way to do that. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know when she'll cash in on Tiffany, but I do think she'll cash in. And Naomi was in the match, Naomi versus Nia Jax, where Tiffany cashed in on Nia Jax. So I think that comes full circle, and then we get the Jade. Naomi has played a good heel. Now, if you don't like Naomi, then obviously you're not going to like her winning. I like Naomi.
You think she's a heel? Like, that's what she's supposed to be?
That's what she is right now, absolutely.
What? She just walks around like a prepubescent teen girl who can't figure her own shit out. She doesn't feel like heel in any way or form. Like, not even a little bit.
I don't know.
She just sounds like a whiny little bitch.
That might be the case, but I don't know what you're watching if you don't think she's a heel.
A heel is supposed to be like a bad guy, a yin to the yang of who's the quote unquote good guy. Naomi isn't a opposite to anything. She's just annoying.
Her taking Jade out, her taking Jade's spot, her messing with Bianca now, her going into Bianca's family's house, her doing these things that are not regular for a babyface to do is not a heel. I don't understand that point of view, Caleb.
Well, just because you're not a babyface doesn't make you a heel.
But I also think you don't like her to begin with.
Right, so but like a stalker isn't a badass. They're a stalker.
She's not a badass. She's a heel. That's different.
I didn't say a heel was a badass. I'm just saying a stalker isn't a badass. A stalker is just a creep.
But a heel
Naomi's just a stalker. She's just a creep. She's not a heel.
A heel is just a bad person, and that's what she's putting.
Oh, I disagree. No, I disagree with what a heel is. We just have different opinions or definitions of what heel is.
But at the end of the day, you don't like Naomi to begin with, so obviously you're not going to like anything she's doing.
I've never liked her. I thought she wasn't. I don't think she's great in the ring. I don't like her personality. I don't think she's ever brought anything to the division as a whole other than glow lights and makeup. Like,
she's absolutely great in the ring.
I would disagree, but that's fine.
I can't be the tiebreaker on this, so I'm sorry, gents. I don't have enough knowledge.
That's fine. Naomi is great in the ring. So, but moving on.
Continuing with the Money in the Bank, Pinky. We digress.
We had the men's Money in the Bank. Ron and I both agreed LA Knight to us felt like the guy that should win it. Seth Rollins doesn't need the briefcase to have a title match. He can get involved in any title he wants based on where he's at in that main event status. So he didn't need the briefcase for that. Now, he won and he's got the briefcase. I do see some interesting things that he can do with that. But I think part of me did not like what happened on Raw based on him having the briefcase. So again, when we get to talk about Raw, we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. We did have LA Knight winning. We thought Rollins, for me, Rollins was like Rhea Ripley. They don't need the briefcase to have a championship match.
They can just call one.
They can just get a match. They're in the main event scene. They're one of the top players at any time.
I love LA Knight. I think seeing him win would have been cool, but I think they've fumbled his character and story so many times over the last couple of years that him winning, it feels like there's no purpose either because there's no build up to it or storyline to him to really play on per se. So the Rollins thing is the biggest issue with Rollins is, like the actual belt, the one Pinky's holding is out because he's not going to cash in and beat Cena before Cena's gone. Like that's not happening. So you severely limit the potential storylines, and the World Heavyweight Championship that Gunther's now carrying around doesn't feel like there's really any storyline there that anybody really wants it other than Gunther. So what do you like? What's he going to do with the briefcase? Hold on to it until Cena walks away with the belt, and then it's just the World Championship belt remaining? So it's just down to the one belt again, and then it means something, and then that's when he starts cashing in? Like, yeah.
There are some stories that they
Nonverbal,
can
love
tell, but
it.
again, I would have put it on LA Knight myself. So we agree. We at least agree on that.
Common ground has been found, ladies and gentlemen. We have a success.
I did enjoy seeing Fatu come out and create a little bit of that beef there with Sikoa and some
Right.
turmoil with the new bloodline issue.
I
There's
hate
some
you
potential
so
there to
low.
get interesting.
I hate you. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
hot mic moment was legit.
Dude,
I will say that's probably one of my favorite moments so far that I've seen.
When Fatu did the Samoan drop on Bronson Reed, I was like, oh, like that was pretty dope. So I love Fatu. He's him and Penta are like two of my favorite dudes right now. So
now how did we feel about Dom's match? So I know we skipped a little bit around there, but how did we feel about Dom's match there on Saturday?
I mean, it was fun. Again, Dom was at Worlds Collide with Liv. They were really giving Rey Mysterio his flowers, being, what some people say is the top luchador. He took offense to that. He called out Octagon Jr. and decided that he would have a match with him at Money in the Bank. So it was kind of an impromptu match. Nothing great, nothing special. It did showcase, luchador wrestling. Dom pulled out the victory like he should, but nothing, just nothing really memorable. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was a good filler match.
Dom can wrestle. I don't think enough people, because of the way he came up, and then the whole, like, I hate my father and this, that, and the other storyline that they started with, and took him a while to kind of find his role within the heel, or at least it took them a while to write the story for him to find his way in the heel, however you want to look at it. I love his character now. So, I mean, there's that. But he can wrestle. Like, if you just watch his matches, every Dom match is pretty entertaining from a wrestling aspect.
Absolutely agree.
We can agree on that. I will say this. If Dom ever reconciles with his father, he will be so over with the entire WWE.
Oh, it'd be absurd.
So, awesome.
So over.
Cool. Well, I know we're running out on time here, so the last thing that I want to make sure that we talk about is the tag team match, the final match of the night between John Cena, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso. So, Pinky, give me the rundown and your thoughts on that with the surprise appearance that we had going into that too.
Well, I think we can agree. I love all the characters in this match.
Absolutely.
Love Logan Paul. I love Cena. I like Jey Uso a lot. And I like Cody Rhodes. I did find out this weekend, shock to me, Cody Rhodes is my wife's favorite wrestler. Kind of shocking.
Second favorite.
Okay, I get it. He's cute and he's awesome. So I get it.
This match is a great example of how you write for an older wrestler that can't move around the ring.
I agree, Caleb. I thought they did a good job for that.
I love Cody Rhodes. I mean, I think he's got some cool flair and things like that, but dude, he's just got some baller suits, man. Like, that dude is fly all the time. I'm jealous. I'm like, man, if I had the money like you did, I would have a different suit every day too.
His presentation is pretty darn good. Fun match, nothing spectacular, nothing memorable until the end.
That was the best part of the night for me, honestly.
That was absolutely. I think I shed a tear. I'm pretty sure I did. Kayla probably like, "Why are you crying, bitch?" And I was like, "I can't help it," because at the end of the day, the crowd chanted, "We want truth," and the crowd got our truth. Out of nowhere, Cody Rhodes John Cena is doing what he does. Ref's not looking. He hits Cody Rhodes with the belt. He's about to win the match. And out of nowhere, a guy in a black hoodie comes in the ring, hits John Cena, then hits him with the belt, and you find out it's R-Truth. the crowd went nuts. The internet went nuts. Everyone went nuts because, again, and this all comes back from, we had no idea this was going to happen. He was
Solid.
fired from WWE. He was released. This was not a work. WWE realized they made a mistake. They brought him back, and then they added him into this, and it worked so damn good. Caleb, would you feel the same?
The only thing I would have changed is the whole monologue that he gave at the end where he cuts his hair. I'd have had him already been cut.
That wasn't.
I would have
that
had
was
his
on
whole
Raw.
new.
That's on Raw.
Tomorrow.
I know, I'm
that's
just-
on Monday.
My bad. I didn't mean the end of Money in the Bank.
We're
the
getting
end
there.
of Raw.
We're getting
but
there.
my thing was he would have already shown that new look. You would have seen that image as the one that did that to Cena.
I would disagree.
That's
with
what I
that.
would have changed, because then it, to me, would have had more impact. It wouldn't have been R-Truth doing it. It would have been Ron Killings no longer idolizing Cena, letting go of the past, letting go of the gimmick. I'm here to do business. That to me would have had a more of an impact if I saw the new image there rather than a day later.
Disagree with that.
Yeah,
but
I
we'll
disagree
talk about
with that,
that
too. But that's a different. Yeah, for sure.
But that made me smile. I went to the bar at UFC and I was just in a great mood. That made the night for me. I loved it. I was glad to see R-Truth back. I was glad to see the fans get what they want. John Cena loves R-Truth. I love that they brought him back in to the fold.
All right, so then I know Caleb keeps jumping the gun a little bit, so we'll finally give him his moment of time
I'm not
to
jumping
shine.
anything. I'm speaking of what you guys are talking about within
so-
context.
Out of chronological order, but it's okay. So now we are at Raw. We're at Phoenix. We've had Money in the Bank. We've had all of the time to recover from Saturday. Pinky, walk me through yesterday and what all we got to see.
Man, we got some. This might be the best Raw of the year so far. We had Cena come out cutting another great promo, as he's done as a heel, and of course, most people predicted it. CM Punk would come out, and of course, they set up a match.
Are you a Red Sox or a Yankee? Yeah, that was cool.
That was a good line. They set up a match at Night at Champions in Saudi Arabia, which is so funny because CM Punk has been completely against wrestling in Saudi Arabia, and he has mentioned he would never wrestle in Saudi Arabia, and he has a lot of issues with their treatment of women, treatment of LGBTQ community, all of that, and you could see the smirk in John Cena's face, which I think is fun as part of his heel character. I'm going to force you to come to Saudi Arabia, which you said you'd never do if you want this belt.
Forcing him to come and get it. That was
So
cool.
I thought that was really fun.
So what after we had the that was the opening of the show. And then I believe we had Liv Morgan's match. So thoughts on that one, Pinky?
So Night of Champions qualifying matches are going on right now. We have a very short time to get these all done to lead up to Night of Champions here at the end of the month, June 28th.
Oh,
I've
man,
got a busy...
that's before Metallica. Dang.
Dude, I'm at Metallica Friday night. I've got this. Now, this is on at noon on Saturday. And then Metallica on Sunday.
Damn,
So,
it's going to be a busy weekend.
It's a busy weekend. So, Night of Champions qualifying match. We had Liv Morgan. We had Kairi Sane. We had Rhea Ripley. And we had Roxanne Perez. Really pretty damn good match. WWE obviously is boosting Roxanne Perez because she comes out of nowhere and gets the pin on Kairi Sane, and she is now in the semifinals of Night of Champions. Roxanne Perez is getting the push. She was in Money in the Bank. She was in Elimination Chamber. She's now in she's moving forward in Night of Champions.
Solid.
The push is on.
Walk me through the rest of the night.
We also had the men's qualifying match with Sami Zayn. I'm trying to think of who else was in that. Penta Braun Breaker. Who is the fourth guy in there?
I'm halfway through my watch, so
Caleb, do you remember?
Let me check.
I'm trying to think of who's the fourth guy in there. Sami Zayn ended up pulling out the victory.
Seth, did you say Seth?
Seth wasn't in there. Braun Breaker was in there for Seth.
Oh yeah, Braun Breaker. Sorry, I knew there was a faction.
Braun Breaker, Penta, and Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio.
Oh yeah, Dom.
Mysterio. Dom was in there.
That's right, because right before that match, Liv came back. They had the little weird thing,
and then he was like, "I can't focus on that.
I can't go talk to Liv right now. I got a match. I got to go to the mat." Yeah, I'm kind of liking whatever's happening with the Judgment Day right now, with Finn being more of an evil genius than that wrestler. That I'm not minding that so much.
I think Liv Morgan is getting ready to leave Judgment Day.
Oh, absolutely! It's gonna blow up for some.
But
that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch.
But she doesn't need Judgment Day anymore, so that'll be fine. That was an entertaining match. Sami Zayn ended up coming out on top. Kind of weird. We had LA Knight show up and interrupt that match, which LA Knight could be coming over to Raw, which I think is amazing. He's done everything he can do on SmackDown. There's nothing else for him to do on SmackDown. Him coming over to Raw. They're not doing a draft this year, so they're not changing up the rosters. So this is just moving people over is about what they can do. LA Knight coming over to Raw. It just seems like it's the right time.
He's got issues with the bloodline.
So that was the men's match, and then I believe shortly after that, we had the hot topic of the night and the birth of a new wrestler. So Pinky, let's get into that real quick.
Birth of a new wrestler?
Yeah,
Killings.
The truth is dead.
Come on.
Right. So I think this is one of the best promos of the year. I think it fits because you can't have R-Truth talk about this at Money in the Bank. You had to have the surprise. You had to have it as an ending. This is him telling the people, and I loved the message. You matter. John Cena started the night telling the fans they don't matter. R-Truth is towards the end of the night telling the fans, you did this. You believed in me. You brought me back. I'm here for you. And on top of that, you can see his character changing to now Ron Killings versus R-Truth. He literally takes out scissors and cuts off his braids. And we have seen R-Truth with his braids for a very long time. To me, that was a very powerful moment. Now, I understand where you were going, Caleb, which, yes, that is powerful. If he came out, he doesn't have the braids. He kind of already turned into R. Killings. I can see that. But for me, like having him tell the audience, having him go into it, and then having him literally cut his braids in front of everybody was actually a pretty memorable moment. And I think it made a larger impact for me than if he had done it at Money in the Bank.
I'm not saying he would have cut the hair Money in the Bank. I'm saying you would have seen the new look when he pulled off the mask. And I think that would have had a far greater impact than the story and then cutting it live the way it happened. I think he could have said all of that and explained the change at Raw. But I think just the image, if you had seen just an image of him pull off that mask and the braids were gone and you see just Ron Killings there, I think that would have been possibly the image of the year up to this point. After he did that to Cena and everything that happened the prior week, that's all I'm saying.
Which I think we still get that with him literally cutting off his braids on air in front of everybody. The looks on people's faces when he was doing that in the crowd,
insane.
They were completely blown away and shocked. And that's how I felt as well. Like I was like, oh my God, he's doing it. Now, I'm hoping he stays on Raw too, because I think just like LA Knight, R-Truth's been on SmackDown a long time, that what he's done on SmackDown is kind of like he's done that.
He's done both so much that it's half dozen the other at this point.
But Ron Killings hasn't. So let's see what Ron Killings can do.
I mean, that's true. At this point, the only thing I would care to see him do is just be a thorn in Cena's side for the remainder of the year in any way he can. That's what I would want to see him do. Outside of that, I don't What are you going to do? Try to start him for the Intercontinental Championship? The world, like, there's not really a storyline to me that makes sense outside of that if he's going to be back for this next year.
And then there's
So,
2 quick hitters.
yep, I was going to say, for the essence of time, let's get through that. Pink, go ahead.
We had Lyra and Becky given a war of war. Lyra and Becky were talking again, like they have been. The surprise being at this point, Bailey comes out. She's back.
Comes out.
She had a little bit of a break. It was very obvious why she took a break.
That's all we're going to say.
Somebody got that new money.
She got 2 new assets.
And then she went and spent.
She got 2 new assets to make herself a little more marketable. We'll say
Absolutely.
that.
Well,
Little bit more cushion for her landings is what she was going for, coming off them top ropes.
Yeah, woo woo.
And then
Internal airbags.
we had Nikki Bella was on Raw. She
Why?
is back.
Why?
She's back.
But
She's
why? I know, but why?
So I don't
She
know
wasn't
how long,
good back then. Like, they weren't good back then. Why are you bringing them back when you have a legit good female division right now?
This one
They're
I'm
better
not-
than the men's in some cases, honestly.
They are. No, that's a fact.
But making Liv look like the way she did and coming out to her little hissy, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Liv plays that character so well, though.
She
but-
plays it great, but it was so below where Liv is at this point in her aura, if you will.
Yeah.
So this is them hyping Nikki Bella coming back. Obviously, they're probably going to do a feud at Evolution, which is July 12th. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, Liv's doing so many different things right now. It's crazy. They're working her a lot. I love Liv. I think she's great. She's one of the best in the ring. We'll see where this goes. I hope she embarrasses Nikki Bella because, yes, I agree. Nikki Bella, when it comes to wrestling, is not even on Liv Morgan's
Well,
level.
they can't unless they use that match or that interaction to be the end of Judgment Day with Liv and Dom, and somehow play that with Roxanne or something getting involved.
I think
Nikki wins, and that becomes the final straw for Liv, and it all blows up. Maybe you could get away with that.
I think Nikki and someone else will take the tag titles from Raquel and Liv. That's what's going to happen.
Lame.
That's where I think that will go. And then we had the main match, which is what the headliner is. Gunther versus Jey Uso.
Gunther!
A lot of people were pretty
love Gunther.
shocked
He's great.
about the outcome. They weren't ready to see Jey Uso give up the belt, but he could not handle Gunther.
Can't handle the general.
So, the ring general overcame. He took out a
Look, I'm not a Gunther fan, but if you're gonna say it, at least say it properly. The ring general.
Got to roll that
The-
R a little bit better.
the ring general dominated. There was back and forth. It was a good match. It was a really good match. The crowd, you could kind of hear it in the crowd. There was every time the last 4 or 5 minutes, all they did was reverse chokeholds, and every time they reversed the chokehold, the crowd went like you could kind of feel that. Oh my God, Jay's gonna choke him out again. Oh my God, Gunther's gonna choke him out. Like it was kind of back and forth. And I think what really did it is what happened after the match when Raw went off the air. Jey Uso, did you see this, Caleb?
Yeah.
I actually thought that was really awesome. Jey Uso, has his son in the ring with them. He tells the fans how much they mean to him. He talks about, it sucks to lose, but then he also talks about how great Gunther is and that he's a real champion, and that guy, he's got so much respect for him. And that comes back to that, like, Gunther and him have had some really good matches.
Yeah, like Gunther has respect for him now. Cool, great. That is so lame. Like, people are like, well, he's hurt, so he has to take a break, so Gunther had to win. Nah, bitch, this has been planned for a while. It had nothing to do with Jay getting hurt the night before or his ribs being sore. This break has been coming. I just think the story writing of it all is terrible. You can do way more things with Jay and everything they have with potential storylines with him as the champion. Gunther is in the ring. He's a good talent. But as far as what you can do with him, I feel like it's always going to be very vanilla and one note. There is never going to be a cool storyline with Gunther and the belt. I just don't see it ever being a possibility.
I disagree, but that's because I think the first time he had a title run, they never threw any real opponents against him. He didn't face Roman. He didn't face CM Punk. He didn't face Rollins. He didn't face.
And he's not going to face any of them now because they're all involved in the Cena story.
That's where they need to get him against the big dogs. That's what it's time to do that. He can't face Sami Zayn and Jey Uso and maybe Braun. Maybe he can face Braun Breaker, but some of those he needs to face. If you're going to continue to be in the main event conversation, you need to fight the main event guys on a regular basis.
I just think he's been propped up as the de facto clown that they're going to let hold the belt that everybody knows doesn't really matter. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. The fact that they ever let the two belts happen and didn't at some point try to combine them, like Cena combining them or something, it creates this weird dynamic to begin with.
They created the two belts because it was boring only having Roman Reigns.
I know, because Roman Reigns carried the company on his back. But yeah.
All right. That being said, we've gotten through the lineup here. Final thoughts, everybody. Let's get through this. Caleb, your final thought.
I think there is some potential right now to have some really awesome storylines. They could easily screw it all up and just go in another direction and end it all. But the potential of what you could do at Judgment Day, the potential of what you can do with the Architect and the faction and all of those things, and playing that in now with the briefcase and Cena and his story could be really cool. It could be epically lame. But that's kind of what I'm excited about right now. It feels like there's kind of some fresh starts about to happen, and I hope that's what happens so that we can kind of move forward out of, for lack of a better way of saying it, the old Vince McMahon era. What we all thought was going to happen when they went to Netflix and they were just going to kind of cut ties and start doing their own thing, and they've really carried some of these on longer than they needed to. So that's what I'm looking for. I see like there might be a light at the end of the tunnel finally, and I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, Pinky, this is your show. I'll give my final thought, and then I'll let you close it out, buddy.
Okay.
So my final thought is, again, coming into this relatively new, I'm enjoying a lot of the things going on. Hearing you guys talk about it, I learn something every time, even if it's just a small conversation. Definitely get a lot of what you guys are saying, and I can see that through the lines. So I'm very curious, as Caleb mentioned, where a lot of these storylines are going to go. And things, and again, it's every event I watch just seems to expand my knowledge, and I feel, for me personally, it's just getting better and better, and seeing where a lot of this is lining up. So I'm excited for the events to come and what now transpires with Ron Killings going forward, and that whole storyline. So thank you, Pinky. Thanks for having me on. It was great.
I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. I actually think this weekend of wrestling, Friday Night SmackDown, Worlds Collide, Money in the Bank, Monday Night Raw was really, really good. And we really needed it because Ron and I have talked about it multiple times. We've been very let down by the product lately, about the storytelling lately. I think this weekend really helped. And hopefully, like Caleb said, we can move stories along. We can tell some new stories. I will end with saying we did have some breaking news today. One of the nice young females that I'm pretty excited about, Mariah May, who came from AEW and is in NXT now. She has now been officially given her new name. It's Blake Monroe. I think it fits. Kind of like that Marilyn Monroe. She kind of has that look and that vibe. I'm excited for what she can do. Robert, you made the best point. The women's division, WWE and NXT, are on a different level right now than the men's. Their talent is pretty freaking amazing. And I really enjoy what they've got going on between WWE and NXT.
Good deal. Pinky, thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it. It was great.
Get well, Ron. Thanks for letting us fill in for you, buddy.
Yeah, Ron, take care, buddy. All the best in your recoveries, man.
So we will see him again. Robert, was that your last final thought?
I'm good, man. That's it for me.
All right, guys. Thank you all again. Like I said, I think we said this on our other show tonight. Please spend some time with your dad. Let him know how much he means to you. Spend that time. We don't know how long we have with our parents, right? That's not guaranteed time. So enjoy it. Spend time. Tell them how much they mean to you.
If you don't have your dad, there's plenty of dads at old folks' homes that could use somebody to have. Go find somebody and have a day.
Amen.
There we go.
Thanks,
Amen. Caleb coming in hot.